Alrighty, welcome back to the Tuesday show. We're still doing our 2015 year in review, and we're going to jump over now to Event of the Year.
That's right. So you go first.
It's my turn?
Yes, it's your
Combo
turn.
Breaker was my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always really liked UFGT, and it's definitely the successor to UFGT.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, a lot of the games had really good matches. And there's always cool stuff going on at UFGT/Combo Breaker. You can play a lot of different games. There's always fun little sections that you can go to. They really do a good job, I think, of catering to the players.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like this mix between efficient, which it definitely is. It's efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely they run on time. And also, like, very grassroots feeling. I feel like it does a great job of mixing the two. Like, it's not some big spectacle. You know what I mean? So I really, really like that. And I also really like hanging out with Chicago guys. So that's a big part of it for me as well.
I mean, just everything that I've heard, had I gone, I bet you it would have been up here. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Combo Breaker, so unfortunately, I don't have it in my top 3. Hopefully, that'll be rectified this year.
Okay.
But my number 3 is actually kind of a cheat. It's a tie between a bunch of events.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And the reason why is because I made it a tie between Frosty Faustings, NEC, CE, Otaku, etc.
Oh, good stuff.
Because
I like it.
I really, really love what the anime community has done this year. I really feel like they've stepped it up a lot. Before, they really were this group that sat around and was like, why don't TOs do this for us? Why don't TOs do that for us?
Okay.
And now they're traveling to all the events, because that was one of the problems. They didn't travel to a lot of events, but NEC had great numbers for all the games. Frosty Faustings did really well. A bunch of the events did really well for the anime games and such. So they're traveling more. They're also creating a lot more content, etc. like that. I really like what I saw from that. And so it's kind of one of the reasons why I expect Xrd to do super well next year. Because I feel like the community, that anime community has gotten really strong. Cool. And so I had to give that award tied to all of their participation.
That's a good pick. I kind of wish I had thought of that.
So.
Okay, well, my number 2 is the Capcom Cup.
Okay.
It was a spectacle.
Yes.
Right, it was definitely a spectacle, and the matches were awesome. The reason I don't have it at number 1 is because it's not like I guess it's not what I think of when I think of an event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not... It's a show, maybe. Mm-hmm. It's a tournament, obviously, but it's not... Like, at the other events that I mentioned and that you also mentioned, I'm sure, a lot of other stuff to do. A lot of the games are going on. There's arcade rooms there or whatever. A lot of people are hanging out, last multiple days, you hang out at night. There's this whole, like, experience to it. It's like a whole different stuff that I didn't think Capcom Cup had, and I think it's unlikely that it will develop. But for what it was, I thought it was good, and that's why I have it at second place, because, I really liked all the effort that was put into it. Yeah. There were some things that I would like to change about it, but I thought that in general it went really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, part of it also was that it was at the Sony PlayStation Experience, so, they had to, it wasn't as much of like an open FGC kind of thing, right? Yeah, I should clarify, by the way, when we say Event of the Year, this is excluding EVO.
Yes, other than EVO.
Yeah, because EVO will be number 1, because EVO is
just always number 1.
It's always number 1, right? Yeah, so we just excluded it to give a lot of the other ones a fair shake. Sure. I didn't include Capcom Cup kind of for the same reason, but then also because, as you said, it's less like an event, more like an exhibition, a show kind of thing. So I wanted to give credit to a lot of the other events, right? Cool. So second, I actually put down was Canada Cup 2015.
Okay, nice.
Because it went really well. It was super. You mentioned the Fudo Tokido match. Yes. It was super good. There's so many good players there. And I just felt like I had to also give it credit for Lapchi taking it to Toronto, having it finally, him not go into the red at these events and stuff like that, So just overall as an event, I felt really good about it, and it was just really cool, had a great atmosphere to it, and I really enjoyed myself there, so.
Okay, well, my number 1 is CEO. CEO 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought all around it was the best. It had, like, the best combination of sort of FGC grassrootsy feeling, but at the same time, a spectacle, and at the same time, the pool party, etc. But the matches as well, I thought were awesome. I just thought in general it was like fantastic. Like it was cool to hang out there. It was cool to not, when we weren't commentating, it was cool to like walk around and play stuff, which things were available there to play, including SF5, but other stuff as well. And to hang out with people there, it's sort of the area around it is all built up now. So there's all these restaurants right there. It's just, to me, it was the best, like all around.
Man,
those matches were sick too, and like not just in Street Fighter, a lot of good stuff going on. Maybe not the Tanya show, but other than that, it was fantastic.
I don't know if my brain kind of lumped CEO with like I just completely blanked out on CEO, because you're right. CEO was an amazing event, and I didn't have it in my list. I actually wanted to do a surprise pick for number 1 here.
Okay.
I actually chose the Master Cup 8 as the number 1 event, the Tekken 5v5 tournament
I like
Japan,
it.
because 1, Tekken 7 is a beautiful freaking game, right? And 2, I just love the fact that they flew out Markman and Eris to do commentary
really cool.
for that, to give the English commentary. Yeah. Dude, it was like over 1,000 players playing Tekken on this 5v5 teams, and it was one of the only tournaments that I stayed up that late watching.
Right.
I got hooked into it so much, and I just kept watching it, and the stories were good, the Korean versus Japanese storyline and stuff like that. So, again, I just, I felt like Tekken 7 just looked so good at that event. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I wanted to give credit because they had awesome production value and all these things like that. So I'm excited for Tekken 7 for 2016. I think it has some big potential. So.
I thought about picking Tekken 7 for my game of the year, but at the same time, it's like not really out in much of the world.
Right,
So I thought, I'm not sure if I should say that yet.
Makes sense, though. Oh, yeah, that's right. Eris wasn't flown out for Master Cup. He was flown out for the other one.
Fist,
Markman was there.
Yeah, Mark was there.
Mark
I think
was there.
Was there too.
Yeah. Oh, it was Spooky. That's who the other one was. Yes, thank you guys. So
somebody asked about DreamHack. Not DreamHack. Red Bull Kumite. And the reason I didn't pick it was because it was a single game thing. And the only single game thing that I picked was Capcom Cup, which was like a Red Bull Kumite like times a lot IMO. Other than that, I wanted to pick. So obviously I'm a little bit biased because in North America I only get to go to certain events.
Right.
And it's important to me not just that like it be fun to watch, but like that the event be good. Like it would suck to go somewhere that had good matches and people at home on the stream are watching and they're all having a good time, but it's like assy at the event, you know? Like that would not be a top 3 event. So those two things definitely influence my votes.
Yep.
To the extent that these are votes.
So. Okay.
All right. Well, up next is going to be Story of the Year.
Yeah, so this is just like an overarching theme of the year, right? So is it my turn to go first? Yes, it is. For number 3, it kind of continues what I was talking about, not just with the anime community, but my third place story is the communities are really stepping up right now.
Okay.
And I really like that because Capcom Cup, everyone talks about Capcom Cup and everything like that, but the anime community has really stepped it up. I already talked about that, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about the Marvel community.
Right.
Right? With Kinder Party and Persia and all those guys doing the Marvel Lives podcast and all this stuff like that.
Sure.
They're doing all these like bounties and first to tens and everything like that. They've really stepped it up, right? Killer Instinct community has this, just this month in San Antonio in Texas, they're having their basically KI Cup, the Grand Championship for $30,000.
That's at the end of this month.
That's the end of this month. Yeah, exactly. So even DOA, they've been trying to keep promoting their games and had all the events and Big E really stepped up to try to help DOA and stuff like that. I see that a lot of the companies now are recognizing how, and a lot of the communities in general are just recognizing that it's really about building it up in-house and building a strong foundation to get your game bigger. And I saw that trend very consistently in 2016. So that's my number 3 story.
Okay. I pitched doing a worst of 2015. And we decided not to. But if we had, right up there would have been 13-0. But since there's no worst, I decided to put it on top stories.
Okay.
Look, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Nobody's ever lost a first to 10 by 13. It's never happened.
Agreed.
And it just was full of just cringingly hilarious stuff.
Dude, the microphone
Cringingly hilarious
thing
stuff.
after the 10-0 that Big E prodded on
Yeah.
was, oh my god. It was like one of those things, like my friend once told me a long time ago, he can't watch shows like American Idol because he's uncomfortable watching cringy things.
Right.
And that's kind of how I felt when I was watching the microphone situation with Carl afterwards.
Yeah, it's like you know that movie Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
The whole movie you're like, oh no, ooh, no, but it's still very funny.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I feel bad for Carl because I like him and he's a buddy of mine, but man, that did not go well at all. Like classically,
Right.
badly.
And honestly, whoever came up with perfect 1-3 legend is like a genius.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life now.
Indeed.
So yeah.
Indeed. Well, that's my number one story.
Number 3 story.
My first in the top three.
Okay.
As well.
My second story was actually the increase in player interaction with developers.
Ah.
I was really impressed with what everybody did this year. The Street Fighter V beta, yeah, that opened up a lot of people going like, why'd you nerf my character? Dude, we never even had these opportunities before, right? And so I feel like it was such a cool thing that they did that for us. Rising Thunder Alpha? It was an alpha, and it was available for everyone to play.
Yeah.
You know, the Mortal Kombat combat casts were very interactive with the players as well. Tekken 7, remember when they had the beta and Harada was like, I'll let them stream the beta.
That's true.
They never did that before.
No, you're right.
You know, all these things. So again, it's kind of on that same theme. It's just the developers recognizing how important this community is to the success of their game. And so I just felt like that was such a trend shift, and I hope to see it continue.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good list. Or that's a good number 2 there. So my number 2 is underrepresented but strong international scenes in areas that you might not expect if you don't follow the games closely. Thinking of European Mortal Kombat X, not just the UK guys. They have good players in Germany and Greece and all over the place. Russia has strong players, it turns out. And like I said earlier, like we knew that they played, and sometimes, occasionally, some of them had come over to North America and like done well at Evo even, but not, top 8. It was just thought of as North American game, and like occasionally some other people play it. But like those guys were there. Even Tony from Australia was brought out for the ESL tournament. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It was, and Ryan Hart was there. Like, I thought that was really cool. But anyway, it's not just MKX. Brazilian Street Fighter 4 represented, obviously with Keoma, but other players as well. Chilean Marvel and Smash. Smash Melee.
That's right. Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
2 Evo winners from Chile this year.
That's right.
As many as the US had. That's right. Even Japanese Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
they have a good scene there. Like, there's all these scenes that you might not like expect or know about. Japan has a good Marvel scene. You know what I mean? There's not that many people left, but they have some very, very strong players.
Right.
So I just think that that's really cool. And
no, I like that. I like that.
I mean, it's presumably they've always been there. I mean, it's silly to think that it's a brand new phenomenon, but I feel like there was more of that international splash this year than there has been in many years previously.
Okay, cool. My number 1 story of the year is basically a story of stories, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
It's basically how much the FGC went viral this year.
Oh, interesting.
You know, so we had so many different things happen, and the FGC mentioned in more different unusual ways than we ever imagined, right? So one of the first ones was K-Brad's entrance at CEO, right? That went viral to the point where the stewardess on the plane was like, weren't you in an internet video? You know, I mean, to K-Brad on the plane. And he was like, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Ogawa Woshige moment.
Right.
I mean, that's been on ESPN like 7 times, in all these different shows and stuff like that, right? The WWE stuff.
Right.
Xavier Woods and now Kenny Omega.
Right.
Did you see the latest video where he threw the Cody Rock?
And made the little Cody sound?
Yeah, he went, ha ha.
Yeah,
exactly. And then, Xavier Woods talking about Evo and Final Round during a match and such like that. And then both of them have now been on Excellent Adventures, Jamie Lee Curtis tweeting all about it. There was even another video that just came out like last week of her talking about Evo even more. Like she was like, "Oh yeah, I cosplay as Vega and I did all this." It's just like the fighting game community is just getting mentioned in a lot of different places now, and I think that's super cool. And that's what it's gonna take. A lot of people are like, "Oh, they're just little, flash in the pan kind of things like that." But it's like how advertising works. When you go to when you're sitting at home and your shower clogs, you have to go to the store and buy something. You walk over there and you see like 7 brands. 5 of them that you've never heard of, 2 of them that you've seen on TV.
Right.
It's not like when you saw the commercial for Liquid Plumber, you're like, I gotta go buy Liquid Plumber. But it just gets in your head so that when you're at the store, you're like, I've heard of this one. I feel safer buying this one.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how advertising works, right? But now on ESPN, they've mentioned, the word Evo has been mentioned in so many different places now that I feel like, it will seem less weird to people as it keeps spreading, and that to me is really key for the growth of the FGC.
Mine is related, I would say.
Okay.
Mine is, guess what? We're esports now. Guess what? We're esports. First of all, I've accepted that word. Yeah. And I'm trying not to be a jerk about it. Yeah. So I guess literally we're esports. But other than that, that was one of the things I was going to mention was that there's all this extra buzz. But even on top of that, look at the monies involved in Capcom Cup, ESL, King of Iron Fist, and Tekken Crash. Money from Microsoft. Even Arc System Works is throwing a thing. Yeah. Even they are. Everybody's doing it now. And everybody's trying to, all the developers are in, the publishers are in. We're getting bigger numbers on streams and many more entrants and all those things. And it's esports, man.
I keep saying that we're not esports yet, but
no, it's happened. It was last year. Yeah.
I'm still in like half denial right now. So.
It was last year. Look, I'll tell you when I first realized it. No, maybe when it was sealed in my mind because I had been thinking about it for a while. It's when in December I was at an event where I was introduced to the crowd as being one of the commentators by walking through a sliding door that slid up, that itself was a screen on which was projected a fighting game character. That's when I was like, this is definitely esports.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's it.
FGC Member of the Year?
Sure, let's move on.
All right. So now you start first, right? Because you went last just now, so you go first now.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Okay.
My number 3 is Matt Dahlgren.
Okay.
From the Capcom. Now, I don't remember if we've listed him before, because we've done this for a few years now.
I had him as number 1 last year.
You did? Okay, yeah. I wanted to have him because, the Capcom Cup and that stuff is definitely a big part of...
Before you move on,
okay,
do you want further proof that we're esports now?
Sure. Oh my god. This is the esports-est thing of all time. No, it's upside down. No.
There we go. This is the esportsiest thing that could possibly... No, seriously, shout-outs to...
if you can't tell what this is a print that's made... You're supposed to hang it on the wall. It's a piece of art.
This was... I didn't know about this. I just got these today. Chris Seglia made these for us and sent us both one copy of this.
I have one too.
Photo. So, yeah, now as something that we can hang on the wall. This is how esports we are, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm glad you found a picture where we don't look gross.
My hair is only my... Yeah, I actually wanted to do one of my random awards. I wanted to be my shark hair, but It's I couldn't.
It doesn't even matter. It's like barely noticeable.
Oh man. Anyways, continue with your FGC member, Matty
D.
Yes, yes.
All the things that Capcom is doing right now with respect to the community are from him, ultimately, because he was a big reason why, or I don't know the exact story. Maybe he had directly hired them, but in any case, Haunts is there now.
Yeah.
Combo Fiend is there now. Harrison is there now. They work with other people in the FGC very, very regularly, and so they sort of keep everybody in there. But in doing that, like, how valuable have those people been? Haunts developed Capcom Cup. It's a huge part of it. They've been working with Mike Ross in the Twitch side of things. Dude, he brought Combo Fiend on as the community manager, and now Combo Fiend is helping to balance Street Fighter V.
He has a different title now.
They can move them around, but he's in there because of Matt.
Yeah.
But it's not even just the Capcom thing. It's that I feel like what he did there has been a big influence on the other developers and publishers that we've been talking about, who are now indeed taking a big, stronger role with the community. And I feel like that's sort of, you can trace that back up to a former Smash player, Matt D.
Former Smash player, that's right.
It's true.
My number 3 goes to a duo.
Okay.
Even though they don't work directly with each other. But I gave it to Malice's Godlike and Ace King Offsuit.
I like it.
Malice's Godlike, of course, is the man behind FGC Calendar, which has been invaluable for us and for everybody. I mean, that thing is chock full of every event possible. Ace King Offsuit is the one who puts up all those nice little schedule graphics, including time zone differences, and he always makes 2. He makes one for here's the stream schedule and here's for the game and which stream they're gonna be on. There's just 2 of the most invaluable resources. Ace King Offsuit has, of course, also gone on to write articles for Daily Dot now and such. So I'm just really happy for them. And you know what? It takes guys like those guys doing hard work to help bring the community to another place. So yeah, absolutely. That I give my 3rd place award for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My second was actually also a duo.
Oh, really?
But they do work together.
Okay.
It's Tom and Tony Cannon.
Oh, okay, okay.
Now, obviously, they've been running Evo for a long, long time, and that's a big part of it, and they should still get a lot of recognition for that. But on top of that, they're now on the developer side.
That's right, okay.
With Rising Thunder, and I thought that those 2 things really, I wanted to highlight it, I guess, because they're doing more, I think, for the FGC than almost anybody. It's not just the fact that they run the biggest tournament of the world. It's the fact that they're now trying to make a game that they want to play and that they think other people would want to play, and that's not easy. So I really wanted to recognize that. I think that's awesome.
It has nothing to do with the fact that they gave us this nice, shiny award. No, but that's a good pick. That's a good pick for sure.
There you go.
Okay. My number 2 is actually, I'll name one person in particular, which is Michael Martin, who writes for Red Bull.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to give it to the entire Red Bull staff.
Okay.
Because I just feel like they have been doing so much. We talked about the FGC going viral. I purposely kind of left out mentioning Red Bull Cultivation.
Right.
Which is the greatest documentary in fighting game history, in my opinion. So just for people who aren't familiar with the game and for current times, because Bang the Machine is pretty amazing, I'm not gonna lie. But what Red Bull has done, because not only just Michael, who's been writing all those casuals articles and all that stuff like that, right? It's also we've been interviewed by a lot of the guys at Capcom Cup, at Evo and such, and they're just doing such a great job bringing the FGC into the public eye. And I really had to give them credit for that, because it's not even just that they're doing it because it's like a paycheck for them. It's because they genuinely love it. I've told the story many times now that, the guys who interviewed me at Evo, they were just like, dude, we want to do this because it gave us an excuse to get flown here on Red Bull's dime, because they just love watching the stuff. So, shout outs to them. You can tell by their content that they love the FGC, and I think that's super important.
I am definitely with you on that. By the way, it's not just Tom and Tony who are making that game. It's Seth Killian is working there, and of course he was a big presence at Evo.
Yeah.
There's other people like Pat Flip is there.
Community Madge.
Yeah. Combo, Combo
Vid.
maker,
Yeah.
Combo Vid, yeah. I don't know how many people know him nowadays.
Yeah. Hey, I just retweeted that Street Fighter Ryu combo video. That's his stuff.
That's true.
So he's a technical marvel. He's exactly the kind of person you need to put on a fighting game to work on a fighting game. Like him, NKI, Desk. Those are the kind of guys that you need to put on. They're the ones that sit in the lab and find all the broken stuff, because they will find all the broken stuff.
I hear you.
So.
Yep. My number one. It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My number one is Rick. Rick, the dude who runs Combo Breaker, the dude who helps Jabali organize, the dude who helped run or ran Umicon, and a whole bunch of other events. The guy who designs for many of those events, things that show up on T-shirts and the like, also for Evo. The guy who runs or takes streaming seriously. The guy who just in my view does basically everything. He even like is a good player and almost got top 8 in a couple of majors.
Yeah,
so.
KI at Evo,
Yeah,
he almost
yeah.
got top 8, right?
Yeah.
And he also is in charge. I mean, I heard he's like one of the people helping a lot with the KI Cup that's coming up.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
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 Okay.
So I feel like he does all the things. I always want to highlight the people who are in the background a little bit, who might not get that
Yes.
sort of shine. We talked about Seg last year, if I recall correctly, Chris Seglia. I mentioned on my events of the year, CEO and Combo Breaker. And while I was putting those two on there, I was like, there's a common theme to these two. I really like them both.
And it's really
that
interesting
guy.
because he's been helping with CEO for a while.
Yeah.
It hasn't even just been this last year. He's been helping out for a little bit. Jabali just, sucks up all the glory and stuff like
That's
that.
not inaccurate.
No, I'm kidding. I always have to give shit to Jabali, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rick, aka the Hado, right?
Yeah.
Do you even know how to pronounce his last name?
Theater, I assume, but I'm
Theater?
not sure.
Okay. Well,
Not sure
my
at all.
number one is Rick the Hado Theater.
Oh, that was your number one, really?
That's my number
Sick.
one as well. It was my number one. Although, while driving home, I rearranged the order in the email I sent to myself. He wasn't, but it wasn't because of you.
Okay.
I had already moved him to number one.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for all the same reasons that you mentioned. He's another one of those guys that is making the FGC turn. He is one of the guys behind the scene who is doing so much for the community, and a lot of people don't know that, just like Seglia last year, and so he deserves absolutely as much credit as we can possibly give him. And it's great because, like, even with Combo Breaker, he's been a little, he's talked to us about it. He's trying to do crazy big things, different things. He's trying new stuff. He really wants to take it to the next level, and he's the kind of guy who can actually get it there. Who can actually do it.
I think the experimentation side of it, I think, is one of the most important things that he does. Dude, the couch at CEO Taku where the commentators sat, right? Come on.
So good.
Genius.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff like that this year.
Yeah, and by the way, when we talk about FGC Member of the Year, we mean that as non-player. So, I just want to clarify that for people who aren't clear with that. So
Right, yeah,
we're
so
not
not
going to
player
talk
of
about
the
because
year.
we already had a player of the year. So
Yeah.
this is just people who are behind the scenes doing good stuff. So
Okay. All right. Cool, man.
okay.
Good.